James May, a very simple man who believes wine should be very simple.
Clarke, a 1920s faintly corked vintage who likes to talk about wine instead of drinking it.
For my sins, I'm trying to turn this big-haired buffoon into a New World wine connoisseur.
It's complicated.
This week we're in Sonoma County, the home of passionate and experimental winemakers. We immerse ourselves in the local terroir.
It's blazing hot in here. My buttocks are on fire.
Meet a man making wine from God knows what.
Doesn't actually say on here what it is.
Well, of course it doesn't. So I don't know what it is.
And James gives the most powerful woman in American wine a piece of his mind.
Nice and simple. You're guilty because you make it complicated.
You can.
No, sorry, you're going to have to let me finish on this one.
This is Oz and James's
Gentleman's drinking holiday stateside.
James, no. Big wine adventure. The New World. It's been over a month since we began our jaunt around California, and we're now nearing the end of James's New World wine education. I've found him excellent and affordable American wines.
A good quality wine for £10 or less. Well done.
I told you I'm getting there.
He's done it.
And I've even got him hooked on sparkling wine.
I quite like this.
We're now staying in the world-famous Napa Valley, the self-styled jewel in the crown of American wine. But just a few miles west is a wine region that I think is the greatest and most exciting in California, and I'm keen for James to experience it. Sonoma County is the birthplace of the Californian wine industry. Perhaps more importantly, it's home to California's most experimental winemakers who use all manner of weird and wacky ways to make wonderful wine. It's the land of free spirits, free thinkers, free...
No, don't tell me this is where California's hippie, vine-hugging, grape-growing, dropout, ne'er-do-well winemakers become one with nature and all that New Age nonsense.
Oh, with that ridiculous hairstyle, you'll fit right in. Jane, we're now driving through the Sonoma Valley. What do you actually see?
Trees, scrapyard, old Mercedes with no bonnet.
Body shop? Vines everywhere? No. That's why I like the Sonoma Valley. They have different lives, which are not just obsessed all the time by wines. Sonoma is much more disparate. It's got lots of different areas, and it's got many more possibilities than Napa has.
I'm wondering if Oz has been sampling some local herbs, because he's got a bit free love on me.
What are you doing?
I'm moistening my lips, in case, as you often do at this time of the morning, you put the thing onto cruise control, leap on me, smother me with osculation, then get back to your seat and pretend nothing's happened.
I see.
Osculation is an excellent activity.
Do you know what? I've become very interested in vineyards.
Oh, that's groovy, James. Absolutely anything goes here in Sonoma. And its diverse climate and terroir means that everything grows, cool climate or warm. Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc, that's bright green autumn fruit flavours.
Yes. Now, our first port of call is to one of Sonoma's most innovative wine producers. We're off to meet the Benziger family, one of the last real wine dynasties left in California. James is going to love the primeval way they run their vineyards. What this guy does is he farms biodynamically.
Oh, God. I know exactly what biodynamics is.
I bet you don't.
Well, I do. It's a lot of sort of talking cod science and philosophy about water and soil as a means of putting up the price of your wine. It's like organic carrots. Eye of newt and the head of frog, distilled in the skull of an ox and spread on the earth when the Tropic of Cancer is impacting on your menstrual cycle. It's that sort of, it's just all cobblers.
They do use a lot of very strange systems. They do work according to the movement of the stars, the movement of the moon. What it's all about really is trying to keep the land, cherish the land, so that future generations have got some to cherish, and it's not completely destroyed by chemicals and herbicides and pesticides and fungicides of every sort.
Are these people making a widely available wine at less than £10 a bottle?
They used to. But they don't anymore.
Don't tell me it's become expensive. And you already know them. And we've just come to see some more of your posh mates.
And give you a decent drink and some lunch, yes.
You just can't help yourself, can you?
Try and keep an open mind. Mike Benziger is a passionate winemaker who's been experimenting with biodynamic methods for the past 15 years. The environment and wildlife in and around the vines are an integral part of the wine growing process. It's all about working with nature to produce the best wines possible, and I'm hoping that a wander around the insectary will convince James that biodynamics makes sense. Man.
This is a bit like a school nature trail. You walk along a gravelly path amongst the lovely plants and birds and insects, and there are little plaques on sticks telling you what they are.
And it smells great, doesn't it?
It smells terrific.
Smells like lavender just
Yeah.
got suddenly a waft of lavender.
Yeah.
It's
Fantastic.
lovely.
And the neat thing about this is that every single plant in here has a job. There's bugs that eat our grapes. And instead of buying ladybugs, what we do is we plant a plant that attracts the predatory insects that eat the bad bugs, which means no pesticides. So it takes maybe 2 or 3 years for this whole system to mature, where you get this equilibrium of the good and the bad bugs. And then after that, you have what's called a self-regulating system, and then we can do away with pesticides.
So this is a bug factory.
This is a buggery.
I was trying not to say buggery,
Yeah.
but that's what it is.
No,
isn't it?
this is a first.
It's a big buggery.
This is a first-class buggery here.
Also like that.
And think of it as this is where we build, like I said, the populations, and then from here, they're distributed out to all corners of the vineyards through the highways that we build in the spring and in the winter.
And have all these vineyards been biodynamic from the start, or did you turn them biodynamic recently?
We started about 15 years ago.
So you now know that it
But
does make a
before
difference.
that, I used a ton of chemicals like everybody else. And you can see a huge difference.
Does it affect the yield of the crop?
We get more grapes now that we're biodynamic than we got
Yeah.
before that, yeah. And more consistent.
And it shows in the flavours.
Oh, I think it does.
Play the band.
Mike also has a novel way of fertilising his vines. It involves cow dung, cow horns, and a ritual burial.
Oh God, not more earth spirits.
So this is the horn manure here. So this started out as sloppy, stinky cow shit, and was cured over the winter in a cow horn underground. And this is what happens after being in the ground 6 months. Take it, smell it, Oz.
So all you did was put it in the horn and bury it in the ground, nothing
That's
else?
it, nothing else.
It doesn't smell like cow dung at all.
It's
It
a
smells
bit-
sweet. Have a smell of that.
Don't be funny and push it in up my nose or anything.
No, I wouldn't dream of doing it. The light's not good enough for me to play a trick like that.
Actually, it smells like really nice compost almost.
Yeah,
smells
I mean,
a
it smells
grow
like
bag.
a forest floor.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a childhood smell again. The
Yeah.
forest floor in, say, November when I'm out sort of...
Yeah,
in the
after a
garden.
rain or something, you know. Oz and James, I'd like to meet my brother Chris. How you guys doing?
Hey, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
The Benzigers keep their biodynamic business and biodynamic facial hair very much in the family, and Chris cracks open a couple of bottles of their best wines for James to try.
What we're about to taste here is some biodynamic wine made by people who sacrifice virgins in the night and dance naked and all the rest of it. This one is a Sauvignon Blanc, one of my favourite grapes, which is a grape that a lot of people in England, I think, would associate with New Zealand wines. Is that right?
That's right, James. Hang on, I do the wine facts.
Light, clean, crisp.
It's very appley, isn't
Apple
it?
and lemon. I think it's good, this, but it's only halfway to New Zealand in flavours. I suspect you'll never get New Zealand flavours here. It's just too warm, whatever anybody says. Give yourself some more.
Yeah, it's a good chug. I mean, that means you do like the wine, or just do that with any alcoholic beverage.
No, I do that with things I like, and I believe that wine tastes right in the throat, so I don't spit.
Now to try a wine made from mystical grapes of pure love and moonbeams.
This one is a Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. That's a mighty tasty wine, isn't it? No hard tannins, lots of big, round, fruity flavours. Is this expensive?
A bit.
How?
It's about 80 US.
Ruddy hippies wandering around in their cheesecloth being in touch with the earth. They're all just profiteers and capitalists.
Allegedly, James. Did I get anywhere, James, in persuading you that biodynamics might have some sense in it?
To be honest, I'm actually quite convinced by the biodynamics thing. The problem is that the way you described it You made it sound like it was going to be a bunch of people in druid outfits worshipping around bonfires with some stone idols. In fact, he's a very empirical man. His biodynamics, or whatever you want to call it, is all based on empirical study. So that's perfectly good. That is scientific, in fact.
James is warming to Sonoma's spirit of experimentation, so I decide to try and help him get more in touch with his inner hippie. Time to head back to base camp and get close to nature, California style, and spruce ourselves up a bit for our next big appointment.
This isn't actually an unpleasant sensation, but it's a bit sort of left-wing for my liking. Left-wing? Yeah. This is alternative therapy. It goes with essential oils and healing and, you know, all that twaddle.
Are you wearing anything?
No. It's blazing hot in here. My buttocks are on fire, aren't yours? Because it's hot, so the deeper you go. My testicles are getting very hot. It's like connected directly to the Earth's molten core, this thing. To be brutally honest, if you were a woman, and you almost are in some respects, wouldn't this be a bit... I mean, wouldn't it...
You know, if you're a bloke, it's getting places.
Yeah, but it's not getting in. I was worried that it would actually get in if you were a woman, if you weren't very careful. You know when you get in a swimming pool,
Yeah.
and you worry what other people might have done in it?
Yeah.
Just think what people could have done in here and you wouldn't notice.
On that revolting note, it's time to get going. We've been granted an audience with the queen of corner shop wine. Gina Gallo is the human face of the wine empire in the world. Incredibly, 2 bottles of Gallo wine are sold every second in Britain, making it the UK's favourite California brand. And they dominate the world market too, with mass-produced, cheap, predictable wines of all varieties.
Cheap and predictable. She sounds like my kind of winemaker.
She is on paper, but this formidable diva is also moving in on new pastures. In the true spirit of Sonoma winemaking, Gina's not afraid to experiment, so she started making wine at the top end of the market too.
As a naturally deferential man, I've washed my hair and put on my poshest jacket.
Good. Now just don't show me up this time, James, please. And you. You see, she's human, she's nice, she looks really sexy. And she's the most powerful woman in American wine. Look, that's what it looks like.
Well, my jeans, my boots.
She's dressed down just for you.
He built up this picture, so I expected you to look like Queen Elizabeth I.
Aww.
You know, stern.
Stern.
He's wearing a jacket.
I know, you look very sharp.
Thank you.
Debonair.
And so do you. Actually, out of politeness, because I would hate to alarm you, I should tell you now about this.
Okay.
1940 Air Raid Warden's whistle, which we call the oscillator, and which I blow when Oz is being what we'd call in Britain a pompous old arse. So if I blow it,
Okay.
that's why.
Excellent, but I can't imagine Oz being a
Don't say it.
blankety blank. There's no way.
I have enough trouble listening. Better a pompous ass than an uncouth Neanderthal. Isn't it time we looked at some vines?
I do find vineyards quite tedious, if you don't mind me saying, because they're sort of samey.
Kind of
Grapes
same.
and leaves and then you walk through it and you talk about the gravel, limestone, soil, wired, not wired, old vine, new vines, infant. You see,
You've taught him a lot.
That's what I was
Taught
thinking.
him a lot.
I was thinking, go on, dig your own grave, James.
When you eat a tin of spam, you don't first go and contemplate the nature of the meat processing factory. You just eat the spam. And likewise with wine, you should simply open the wine and drink the wine.
Well, I hope you're going to like our Sonoma County wines.
Should we try it?
We need to.
Yes.
Yes.
Now?
And some California wines. Absolutely.
We should try the California wines because
California.
they are what have replaced Gallo's Hearty Burgundy in our
Pretty much.
opinions.
Pretty much.
And
The nice lady has offered me a drink. I think we should accept and have a drink, not listen to you prattle on about the vineyards of California and the fog.
Well, we don't have to be threatened with him because I don't know if he has the passion for wine.
he's
I
got
have
the passion
for
for
drinking
is
it.
for
passion
drink.
for drinking.
Okay.
You will find him an
Well, let's-
enthusiastic drinker. And by that, I apologise in advance.
It does seem to me that you know, the winemaking business is quite...
Now I've got a drink, and to make sure she doesn't notice how much I'm having, I ask our host an intelligent question. What's it like being a Gallo?
Big wine adventure. The New World.